Hey, you guys. What's going on? I'm checking in as we will be doing, hopefully, as many times a week as I can. So, start with a little sound just to get you kind of in tune. Bing. Always love a little sound to begin our sessions. At least there's no traffic today, right? Hi, everybody. I'm Juniper, and I'm here for your call to adventure. I'm here with guided rituals and practices and all these types of things that help you be your authentic self. And I can be here on YouTube, and you could find me at majestichudson.com, where we have so many more goodies. So please, please, please subscribe, whether it's here or maybe you see a glimpse on YouTube or Instagram, whatever it may be. The more you subscribe, the better it is for all of us out here to give you some beautiful things to work with and keep you calm and cool and collected and insightful and centered and balanced. And let's keep going with every single description I can. Anyway, today, what do I want to talk about today? Well, I decided we just got through the whole Lion's Gate, which has been incredible and very formidable, I should say. I believe pretty much everyone has had some kind of great awakening in one way, shape, or form, or found some beautiful direction for yourself. And sometimes when that happens, we get kind of shooken up a little bit, our energy, our emotions, things of that sort. I'm just trying to get this to be a little bit better. There we go. Things of that sort tend to be a little bit more, there we go. It could be scattered, a little ungrounded, things of that sort. And I want to give you a couple quick tools on how you can balance stagnant energy or even some physical things that might feel a little out of tune. I, for one, am not superhuman. I had a back injury this month, and that was not fun, and I'm finally healing from it. And it's a reminder to me that I need to do all sorts of practices in which to stay strong and centered. And it doesn't matter how strong you are, how much of a yogi you are, how old you are, how young you are. There are things that we could do that help move things around and help us stay super centered. And I'm going to do a couple of practices with you. So we will do them right here on the floor, right here in my sanctuary. But I want to begin just talking a little bit about mysticism and how to be a mystic. Now that seems super out there. However, if you did do a lot of your own work during Lion's Gate, you know that you were able to be a bit more insightful and see what the universe can provide to you, especially when that portal is open and other times in your life. And that brought me to this small spiritual poem, of course, by Hadwig. I'm not really sure. It's a Belgian poet. And it talks a little bit about a mirror. It's going to end with a mirror. And I love the metaphor of a mirror. I've been using it quite a bit with all of my clients this week, how sometimes we are just so front-facing for everyone else and all our jobs and our families and all the different people in our lives that we just literally have to turn the mirror around and do that to ourselves, be present for ourselves. So it says, "You who want to know knowledge, see the oneness within. There you will find a clear mirror already waiting." I think that's just so beautiful. And you can use the metaphor of a mirror. You can use an actual mirror. Some people use mirrors in kind of magic practices and things of that sort. You can just Sometimes write out, journal things out, speak to yourself. I really like voice memo on your phone. You could kind of talk into it and play back to you. That's sort of a nice tool as well. So that's a really great way to sort of tap in a little bit. And like this poets, like especially from like Sweden, Belgium, I mean, all over the world really, but especially in earlier centuries, like Hadwig, and also I really am a huge fan of Hilma F. Klint. If you have heard of her, she's this incredible mystic who was really into experiential meditations and transcendence in her own art. And there is an exhibition of her at the Museum of Modern Art right now, and I think it's only up for a little bit while longer, so if you're nearby, you should definitely check that out, or at least look at her online. And I'll drop that below so you could get a little blown away. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you a couple ways to release stagnant energy and how to get centered, and it's super easy. So we're going to be sort of yogis today, but you don't have to define it as yoga. We're just going to talk about what we need to do to kind of center ourselves and become grounded. So this is a grounded goddess practice, let's call it that. How to be a mystic as a goddess. So simple, really. We're just tapping in. So I want you to begin. It's so easy. We are actually taking goddess pose. So you're going to lay down on the ground, and if you can, just put the soles of your feet together. So you're kind of like this, like butterfly pose. And you're going to go like this. And you're going to lay it. Sometimes people like to lay on an actual bolster. But if you could lay like this, that's fantastic. I have my little pan drum in the way, but either legs in tight, and if they're not, you could bring them out a little bit further to diamond pose, or even just bring them out more like a starfish. But for now, I'm just going to put my feet together and just be in this simple position. You're going to give yourself a lot of nice, easy breaths. And feel your palms open. I always like the idea of you're holding 2 handfuls of cotton. And even here, I would actually encourage you to, in this state, to allow your mind to wander a little bit, because there's a lot to reflect upon after all of the work we did during Lion's Gate. And we're not going into a super deep meditation. You can add this to this practice at the end. But I also want you now to just take your knees up and just flutter them just a tiny bit. So we're opening up a lot of stuff that goes on the hips. We hold a lot in our hips often, as well as the shoulders. So just do that a few times, and then maybe rest. And then very slowly bring your knees together. So I'm not rushing through this, but you should probably spend about 3 minutes on each variation. And now we're allowing the lower back to be completely grounded, and just simply allowing your knees to float from side to side. I always like to think of your knee and your hip joint and how they're connected with your femur bone. Just a nice sort of windshield wiper from side to side. And stay with your breath. And after a while, just find stillness once again. Maybe getting very restful. This is a great way to balance the chakra system as well. Just these simple poses. We're going to bring our knees into the chest. And hug them if you can. If you can't, you could just hold right behind the thighs. And just a gentle rock here as well from side to side. I'm using these gentle movements like rocking, because the rocking in itself is going to help sort of release stagnant energy physically in the body. And then when you get to stillness, it brings you into a more of a meditative state. So I really enjoy that dichotomy. And I try to do this, especially when I'm running around and I don't have time for a full practice. And once again, coming back to stillness and your breath. And if it's available to you, sometimes I like to really hug it and bring my nose up towards my knees. It rounds the entire spine. You become almost like a little egg, a little round ball. But then make sure you bring your upper spine gently back down to the ground. And then bring your arms out to the side. And we'll just do a simple twist. So just bring your knees all the way to the right. And if you can, your gaze your knees to the left, gaze to the right. And take 3 deep breaths here. And then very slowly bring your knees back to center. And then opposite way, so knees to the right, maybe gaze to the left. And then slowly back to center. I'm just going to finish off. I'm going to just come to one side and just relax there. And then very slowly just find your way back up. How do you guys feel so far? You probably feel like a nice washing over of you. Just breathe. Feel that softness. I really hope to integrate these practices a little bit more so they're simple and easy. I want to just end a little meditation. I'll start it and then we'll float out of this. You can hold it as long as you want. As always, we begin our practice with a little chime of a bowl, and I chime us out of it. And I want to use a mudra that is all about deep listening. So mudra is a hand pose that also helps to balance your energy quite a bit. I'm not good at those. I don't have my other lamps today. So let me show you how that is. So here it is. This is the mudra for inner listening. It's called Shunya Mudra. And it's quite easy. It's a mudra of transformation, clarity, and spaciousness. So here's how we do it. You take your index finger and your thumb holds it down. So it's like that. And then we'll start to, I'll edit that out. So you're gonna take your middle finger and you're gonna hold it down with your thumb. So middle finger, hold it down with your thumb. So you look like this. It's probably like some kind of heavy metal thing. And you're just gonna rest it on your thighs, facing up. And just stay with your breath. And just I'll chime us in. And this is a mudra about transformation, clarity, and spaciousness. So allow your mind, your mystic mind, to become a little bit more expanded and see what comes in. And I'd love to hear from you. You can let me know if you felt the smallest of shifts or the grandest of shifts. It's all good. So here we go. And gently notice the shift just by holding this mudra. You might feel something kind of lifting up through the arms or the core. And you could just continue with this if you'd like. Maybe after a while you'll gently release the mudra so that your hands can relax. And just gently say to yourself, silently or aloud, my inner voice leads me to perfect equanimity. Thank you guys all so much for practicing with me. I hope you feel a little bit calmer. I'm Jennifer Juniper. I'm here for your call to adventure. So please like, subscribe. I will do as many of these I can per week to give you insight, clarity, and allow yourself to be your true, authentic self. So you guys have an amazing week, and hopefully see you tomorrow, Friday. All right? Ciao.